How to export your work optimally in CC. Welcome to this lecture where we'll talk about the optimal way of exporting your work in Photoshop CC 2017. The following applies to previous CC versions, though you'll notice some options are particular to this latest release. We'll start with the old way of exporting your work, Save for Web. This has the same hotkey, Ctrl-Alt-Shift-S, but it's no longer the recommended method. If you go to File, Export, Save for Web, you'll see it has Legacy written next to it. The new way is the following: File, Export, Export As. The hotkey is very similar to the previous one. You just replace the S with W. So that's Ctrl-Alt-Shift-W, and you'll get this new window. From here you get a bunch of new options, and we'll talk about them in the next couple of minutes. On the left side you get the file name, its type, image size and file size, so all the relevant information regarding your export settings. On the top right you'll notice PNG no longer has two options. Instead you get this smaller file that uses only 8 bits. With it checked, we can see the image will take up 1.2 megabytes. Without it, it'll occupy 3 times that amount, 3.8 megabytes. This is actually very similar to what tinypng.com does. It strips a lot of information from the image without sacrificing quality. If you quickly glance at both versions, in most cases you can't tell which is which. So Adobe really thought it through with this feature. Moving down, the image size and scale are pretty standard stuff, but if you move underneath, you'll see you get to adjust the canvas size. Usually this is used to improve its appearance by increasing the image's margins. In case you want to revert, this reset button will come in handy. Over the previous CC versions, you get to include the metadata and color space. Convert to sRGB should always be checked when working on web design projects. The most interesting part is on the left, where we can export the same image at different sizes. Notice this very small plus icon? By clicking it, you add another version. This is at 0.5 times. As you can see, you get all these versions, but you can also adjust them from this drop-down. Now if you click Export All, you'll get them all in a matter of seconds. Adobe also claims this loads up much faster than the previous Save for Web version. I did some experimenting and I've had an improvement of about 25%. In the file format, you'll also notice JPEG no longer has several controls. Instead, you'll get the quality slider, and that's about it. What's nice is that they included SVG as an export option, and that will come in handy in most projects. When dealing with artboards, each one will show up as an entry on this left side. This will allow you quickly to see what's what. Another way of exporting your work much faster is to use File, Export, Quick Export as PNG. You click it, select your location, and that's it. If you'd rather change the file type to JPEG or something else, go to File, Export, Export Preferences. From here you can edit these settings, including file size and export location. The last way of exporting your work, and this is my favourite by far, is to right-click in the Layers panel and use Quick Export. You'll be asked for a location, and that's it. This is fantastic for people who want to individually export a certain layer or section. It may be a button, a menu, or a certain region. This works for both folders and layers, as well as artboards. The cool thing is you can select loads of layers and use this command. It doesn't get much faster than this. And if you want to quickly export the entire project, you can use Ctrl-Alt-Shift-E while on the top layer, and that will create a new one by merging everything together. Now you can quick save this one, and you no longer have to go through that Export As window. And those are your exporting options in Photoshop CC. Let's move on.